Hey everybody, what's going on? My name is Jesse, also known as Sublime, and in today's video, I'm going to teach you how to be more confident on the tables and how to dominate the tables. And what I mean by dominate is kind of just control the pace of play and to make the table your breeding ground. So I start off here with a queen jack and I 3-bet it up to 60. Now 3-betting, in my opinion, is one of the most important things you can do in poker, right? So the objective of 3-betting is not only to get more out of the pot and to have more equity inside of the pot, but it's also to get rid of those outlier hands like 4-7, 3-8, 9-6, right? All those kind of hands, we don't want them in here at all. It's purely because if somebody calls with like a 7-3, they would be beating what I have right now with my queen jack, right? But if you 3-bet it up to 60, and this goes for any single blind that you play at, if you 3-bet it up to 60, the odds of you winning with that hand compared to what the person with the 3-bet raised it to are very slim to none. The odds of a 7-3 coming out compared to 2 queens or compared to like a queen jack or something that I had there are very they're the same odds, but they don't have as much equity as the other hands. So a lot of people will fold with those outlier hands that will beat you on the river, on the turn, and it kind of just, you get to control what goes on the table when you 3-bet, because you get a lot of people who fold. As you guys can see here, I had pocket 9s in my hand and I 3-bet it up to our Misfit Toys raised it up to 60. I limped in beforehand and I re-raised it to 190, right? So I 2-bet him on his $100 raise and the flop came out 3-10-8. Now, when I got rid of those outlier hands, I'm thinking, okay, I maybe got rid of a low 10 or something like that. The odds of somebody having a 10 are very low. So what I did was I bet it to 200 and I got one caller on 200. Now I'm continuation betting here and I'm throwing out a bet for 600. So that's 4 times the bet I just made last time and I get a caller again. So I'm thinking, okay, with all the cards on the table, there's not really a straight unless somebody has like a 4 or 5. But I don't see them calling on a $600 bet on a 4 or 5 just to wait for that 2. So I end up going all in for 615, which was originally what I bet last time. But because she wanted to stay in the tournament, and you'll see this a lot, like a lot of people will raise up to 800, you call them, and the next hand you raise it to 400 because it's your action. They will just end up folding because of what the cards say or what the cards are doing. And it's just, there's a lot more to it than just, you know, I have 600 in the pot. This is a sit and go competition, right? So anybody who's in this hand with me are trying to get that first place prize, and knocking them out on the second hand of the tournament is 1, embarrassing, and 2, nobody wants to be the first one out, and 3, what was on the board to compare to what she had, I was probably beating her. She doesn't know if I have a 2 pair. She doesn't know if I have a 3 of a kind. She doesn't know if I have just a higher pocket pair than she does. So she ended up folding, and that's why I won that hand. And that's just one of the most important things I could say is like continuation betting and 3-betting are 2 of your most important tools you can have in poker. Besides the number 1 tool you have is folding, right? But the number 2 and number 3 are the 3-bets and the continuation betting, right? If you want to look strong on a table and if you want to, you know, just dominate and control, you got to be that person who is the forefront of those bets, right? You want to make sure the action's on you, and position is a huge thing, but I'm going to be talking about position in a whole nother teaching video. But being in the right position and making the bets at the right times and to what's going on at the table makes a lot more sense compared to somebody who just doesn't continuation bet, or somebody who doesn't 3-bet and just limps in, right? It puts more pressure on people, and that's what you want in poker. You want to put pressure on people so that your hand looks like it's the best and you look like you're almost representing aces in every hand you play in. Now, this example from Misfit Toys 1000 is exactly what I wouldn't do on the table, right? So he might be bluffing here just to get blinds, but let's say he has a really strong hand and jacks or queens, kings, aces, whatever he has. Going all in before anybody else even makes a bet, or, you know, even if he 3-bet, I bet you would have gotten some callers that have a fairly high hand compared to just going all in, because he only got 60 extra chips. But if he 3-bet that up to 60 or 80 or 120 or whatever he wanted to 3-bet it at, and somebody called, he's immediately making a lot more chips than if he just goes all in. And that's the name of poker, right? You're not coming into poker tables to beat somebody, to knock them off of a table, right? In tournament poker, yes, that's one of the objectives, but another one of the objectives is just to stay comfortable so you can make the calls when things get tough or the things get stressful. You have enough leeway to make those calls and to make those decisions. By what he was doing though is he wasn't really thinking about that. He was just thinking, hey, I have a very, very good hand and I'm just gonna do all in right away, and hopefully somebody calls to play a game of bingo. And that's not the way to do it. This hand is a perfect way of playing a dead hand that turns into something good. I had nothing. One of the people raised it up to 30, which was 1% of my stack. I had 3,000 at the time of at the beginning of this hand, and I did make a call for 30, and this was on after the flop, so she might have had a pair of 9s or a pair of 3s or something like that. I made the call because the odds of a king or a 10 coming up, they're not high, but if it does come up, I'm automatically beating the other hand. So compared to what my chip stack was and compared to what was bet, I was like, you know what, I'm just going to give it a shot in the dark and see if a king or a 10 pops up. And luckily, a king did pop up on the river. I raised it up to 100. I got one caller, and I ended up winning that pot with my pair of kings, which was very nice. I love having those pots that kind of do that. We just ended up folding this hand though. Jack 3, not something I really want to play. But yeah, like the main important points of poker is you don't want to bet too much and you don't want to bet too little, right? So you got to really find that in-between ground where it's high enough where people got to really think and say, do I want to lose this much? And it's not low enough, or it's not high enough to where people are thinking, you know, this is way too much for me. And it's not low, or sorry, I'm all over the place here. It's not low enough to say, this is cheap. Let's see what comes out next, because a lot of people will just, like I said, if it's a minimum bet and they have 3,000 chips in their stack, right? The odds of you, you know, if you throw out a bet for 240, I was probably going to fold that. I had absolutely nothing, but she only raised it up to 30, and that's so cheap for me compared to what my stack is. So why not call? Why not have a shot in the dark and see what'll pop up on a river? Worst comes to worst, I only lose 30 chips. And then not a continuation bet after that flop or after you raised on the turn and just a check perceives that your hand is pretty weak. So when that king ended up popping up, I'm not thinking she has a 2-pair, I'm thinking she has a really weak pair. So I end up raising it on her. Now if she would have raised on the turn, I most likely would have folded even if it was minimum, because she's showing me that she's strong and she had it. And you know, I don't want to feed her pockets, right? That's another thing, is know when to fold. If you don't know when to fold, then what's the point of even playing poker? Right? Because if you're sitting there and your hand doesn't have a lot of equity, and especially for on the river and on the turn and all that stuff, then if you're just funding another person's bank account. So knowing when to fold and when to call it quits is very strong in poker, and it's probably the strongest thing you can do. Laying down cards, even if you have the nuts, but you don't know you have the nuts, right? There's many different things that could win a poker hand, right? Even if you have the nuts, it's not guaranteed that you will win the hand, right? Because you might think you have the nuts, but somebody else might have a higher fucking pair of hand or a higher hand than you will. So in the end, it all comes down to your gut feeling and how you feel it'll work. Now this is a hand that I want to highlight right here. It's ace pocket rockets. Some people hate this hand, some people love it. I don't raise immediately. What I do is I just limp in, I look weak, and especially since people were raising beforehand, I don't want to make it look like I'm weak. The person to the right of me raised it to 65, or she raised it by 50. So what I did is I 3-bet on that 50 and I raised it up to 185. Now the reason I did this is I want people to call, but I also want people to fold. I don't want too many outlying hands to be in this pot. So I got people to fold, and this person went all in, the same person that went all in before, for 400. So what I did is I raised it by 600, and we got the pot, and we got people to fold. So it comes out 7-7 ace. Automatically I win this hand. I get full house over aces over sevens. So even if this guy hits his flush with the 3-4, he's not going to win. If he has a straight, he's not going to win. The only thing that could beat me is if somebody has actually nobody else can beat me. That's the nuts right there. Unless somebody has like a straight flush or 4 of a kind, which is unlikely. And so we automatically win that hand right off the get-go. Bam, we're up to 3,620 now. So we're already almost, we have 3 times what we bought in for. And it's absolutely crazy the amount of just good poker play I did there. And I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm just trying to give you guys an example to look at of, wow, that was a really good poker hand, and I can use this on a table that I'm playing on next. Thank you guys for watching so much. You guys are truly some of the best fans on YouTube. We just hit 700 subscribers on YouTube, and that is absolutely insane. When I started this, I never even thought we would reach the heights that we're at right now. So I want to say thank you guys. You guys are amazing. The next thing I want to say though is if you guys haven't joined the Discord already, go to the comments right now. I have a comment pinned about the Discord and all that. Go down below, click on that, and join the Discord. We got a very healthy community. We're always hosting tournaments and giveaways and all that kind of stuff. And we will be hosting a lot more in the future. We've kind of been stagnant from it, but we're almost closing in on 1,000 subscribers, and I think we'll be hitting that soon. So watch out for the announcements in the Discord, because we will be having a giveaway. We will be having a tournament. It'll be a lot of fun. And yeah, thank you guys for watching again. You guys are awesome. Hope you guys stay safe out there. Bye-bye now.